Welcome back to Askewed Reviews. And as I have been doing so recently, I'm going through all of Kevin Smith's films. And so today we are doing the 2008 movie Zack and Miri Make a Porno. Here is your trivia question for today. What is the name of the hockey team that Zack and Deacon are a part of? The answer will be at the end of this episode. So Zack and Miri have been friends since first grade, and nowadays they even share an apartment together. Unfortunately, though, Miri's job at the mall and Zach's job at Bean and Gone coffee shop are not making enough money for them to be able to afford all of their bills and their rent. But for the time being, to get their minds off of it, the two of them are heading back to their high school reunion. They begin catching up with old friends and fellow classmates. Miri specifically is trying to see if she can hook up with her old high school crush, Bobby Long. Unfortunately, she soon finds out that her high school crush is gay and is here with his date, Brandon St. Randy, who also happens to be a gay porn star, which Zack finds very interesting. Eventually, Zack and Miri make their way back home, and they've now realized that their power has now been turned off in their apartment as well. Zack then has a brilliant idea, as he suggests that he and Miri make a porno, and then they could produce it, sell it, and make money to be able to pay off all their bills. So Miri agrees, and the next day they begin their journey on creating a porno. Zack asks his friend Delaney to become the producer, and his other friend Deacon to become the cameraman. And then they begin the audition process to see who else will star in their movie. Finally, the cast is chosen, and so is the plot, as they decide to create a parody called Star Whores. So everything seems to be going really well. They've got all the costumes, sets, and the script is complete, and they're ready to start filming the next day. However, when they arrive to set the next day, everything has been demolished. So will our cast and crew be willing to put the time and effort back in to finding a new location and recreating a new film? And even if they manage to accomplish that, will Zack and Miri be able to do their sex scene while having their lifelong friendship not cause an issue? This movie was written and directed by Kevin Smith. Some of the plot of this film is based off of Smith's own experience while making the film Clerks. The Weinstein Company greenlit the project solely based on hearing the title. I'm sure no one is surprised by that. In certain marketing and retailers, they only advertised the film as Zack and Miri. Zack was specifically written with Seth Rogen in mind. Smith even said that if Rogen turned it down, the film would not have been made. Elizabeth Banks plays Miri, but the character was originally written with Rosario Dawson in mind. The reason why she didn't play the character is due to scheduling conflicts. Porn star turned actress Tracy Lords plays the character of Bubbles, but other actresses that were also up for that role were Kelly LeBrock, Michelle Mayrink, and Kelly Maroney. So there's a scene near the end of the film where Tracy Lords is seen on a rotating bed spanking two of her co-stars. This is actually a parody of the final scene from Lord's film, New Wave Hookers from 1985. Katie Morgan, who plays Stacy, is also a porn star in real life. In fact, the year before this film came out, Morgan was in a Star Trek porn parody called Sex Trek Where No Man Has Come Before. And probably as a surprise to no one, the porn parody they do in this film, called Star Whores, is a title that would be used for other porn parodies. There are quite a few cameos from actors throughout this film. Jeff Anderson, who has appeared in a lot of Kevin Smith's View Askew films. Craig Robinson. Justin Long, who actually had a cold for the day of his filming, so he actually suggested to Smith that Brandon has a deep voice. Brandon Ruth. And if you didn't notice, they did specifically switch up these actors' names for their characters. For instance, you have Justin Long as Brandon St. Randy, and Brandon Ruth as Bobby Long. There was also Tyler Labine, Tisha Campbell, Kenny Hotz, Jerry Bednob, Jim Norton, Tom Savini as Jenkins, which apparently that character was originally written for George Carlin, but unfortunately he passed before being able to be in this film. There's also Kevin Smith's wife, Jennifer Schallbach Smith, as Betsy, and even Lauren Miller, who would go on to become Seth Rogen's wife as the character known as Moaner Groaner from the end credits. Zack and Miri is the first Kevin Smith film since Clerks to not have Jason Lee or Ben Affleck in it. The part near the beginning of the film where Zack is trying to help Mary wash her hair, when she falls because the shower curtain rings break, that was actually on accident. It wasn't meant to happen, but they did keep it in the film anyway. You know the scene where Jason Mewes is playing Lester and he's only wearing a tie and underwear, and instead of taking the tie off, he just spins it around to his back? Mewes does this for a specific reason. In real life, he has a tattoo going down his spine that is Kevin Smith's daughter's name, Harley Quinn, and he wanted to hide it for that scene. In this movie, the word fuck is said 229 times. Smith originally wanted to film this movie in Minnesota as he enjoyed his time there when filming Mallrats, but instead he ended up filming it in Pennsylvania, and this is also where the movie takes place. So when it comes to the film Zack and Miri Make a Porno, this is definitely an entertaining, raunchy rom-com, and I would have to say that some of the actual story, at least in my own opinion, is a little lacking, but it's still fun to watch. So I'm going to give this movie a 3 out of 5. Now, if you did enjoy this movie, other films I recommend checking out are Knocked Up, Forgetting Sarah Marshall, She's Out of My League, and The 40-Year-Old Virgin. Now it's time for the trivia question from the beginning of this episode. What is the name of the hockey team that Zack and Deacon are a part of? So the fictional hockey team they are a part of in the movie is called the Monroeville Zombies. This is actually a reference to horror movie director George A. Romero's zombie sequel, Dawn of the Dead, as in that film, the mall that they're at is the Monroeville Mall in Pennsylvania. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Askewed Reviews, and if there's a movie you'd like to see get a review, just mention it in the comments.